Medical Center in Boston, but she says the cost per patient is not unique.
We have a lot of drugs where we spend in that, $80,000 to $100,000 range, and the outcome is not cure.
She's talking about drugs for diseases like arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and cancer. The cost problem with Hep C drugs is that millions of people will need them, and many of them can't wait long for their chance to cure.
Hepatitis C is a ticking time bomb. We have a very limited amount of time to get in here and alter the course of the disease for a good number of people.
Or a lot of them will suffer liver failure and liver cancer, and that will cost a lot more to treat in the long run. For NPR News, I'm Richard Knox.
Richard's story is part of a reporting partnership with NPR and Kaiser Health News. Now, it's not just patients with hepatitis C who might be prescribed a drug combination that has not been approved by the FDA. It's actually quite common for doctors to prescribe drugs off-label, as it's called. In fact, 1 of 5 drugs are prescribed this way. NPR's Patty Naiman has been asking why.
There are many reasons why doctors prescribe drugs off-label, either alone or in combinations. It could be a last resort, a cancer drug that shows promise when all other options have failed. Or it could be anecdotal evidence from other doctors who say the medication works for certain conditions. Dr. Caleb Alexander co-directs the Johns Hopkins Center for Drug Safety and Effectiveness. He says patients may not know it, but their prescriptions are often made for conditions that haven't been scrutinized or approved by the FDA.
For example, the use of anti-seizure drugs to treat migraine headaches or depression or neuropathic pain.
Or the use of certain cancer drugs to treat macular degeneration, or blood pressure medication to treat heart failure or help prevent headaches, all considered off-label.
Off-label drug prescribing is neither bad nor good per se.
Internist Randall Safford with the Stanford Prevention Research Center.
But really depends on the level of evidence available to support a particular use of a drug for a condition that may not have been specifically approved by the FDA.
Evidence is the critical word here. For some off-label use, research and studies show they're effective, but they're not FDA approved to treat these health problems. Researcher Alexander says that's because drug companies often don't have a financial incentive to spend the hundreds of millions of dollars it could cost to get FDA approval for an additional use.
If there's only a few years left in a drug's patent life, then pretty soon the drug will be going generic, and pharmaceutical manufacturers face little incentive to seek an additional FDA approval.
So that often leaves decisions to the individual doctor.
Clinicians are between a rock and a hard place because on the one hand, there are thousands of drugs on the market, and many clinicians use dozens of medicines at least to treat patients.
In one survey of doctors, Alexander found in about half of all cases where medications were prescribed, doctors didn't know whether they were FDA approved for the specific condition. Stanford's Randall Stafford says that can result in risky prescribing. For example, some doctors use antipsychotic medication to treat patients with advanced dementia who have problems sleeping at night.
They may have reversal of day and night, and medications in the class of antipsychotics often act as a mood stabilizer and have sedating properties.
Which may make it easier to care for these patients, but at the same time can increase their risk of heart attack. Researchers agree it's complications like this that make it so important to have a comprehensive nationwide database for doctors to consult when considering medication that's not approved by the FDA. Until that's available, it will be up to patients and their doctors to discuss the pros and cons of using medication off-label. Patty Naiman, NPR News.
Support for your health comes from Athena Health, committed to helping physicians manage change with cloud-based services plus Hippocrates mobile tools. AthenaHealth.com. And from Novo Nordisk, committed to diabetes care and changing lives for more than 90 years. NovoNordisk-US.com.
It's 7:49. Good morning. This is Morning Edition on WKSU. Nuclear talks resume in Vienna today, and they're becoming increasingly crucial for Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, who's nearing the one-year anniversary of his election next month. We'll have that story ahead at 8:10.
The truth shall make you free?
The truth has always a chance to win, because finally people realize that white is white and you cannot say the opposite.
Two Ukrainian journalists reflect the difficulties of covering a conflict when you're a part of it. The Russian media is free to say that white is actually black. Next time on The Takeaway from PRI, Public Radio International.
The Takeaway. It airs each weekday morning at 9, following Morning Edition, right here on the WKSU stations. It's Monday, May 12th. We're going to have scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast today. But it's going to be warm with a high near 80. Low tonight, 63, with a 40% chance of rain and storms. Showers and thunderstorms expected for Tuesday, even warmer, high 84. Then we start cooling off midweek. Wednesday will be down to 70. And Thursday in the mid-60s, rain likely every day this week. Support comes from Cascade Auto Group. For over 40 years, Cascade has called Northeast Ohio home and has treated their customers like friends and family. CascadeAutoGroup.com. And Crane's Cleveland Business, shining a spotlight on Northeast Ohio's growing companies in their Fast 50 program. Nominations are now open. Details at cranescleveland.com/events. The Indians won yesterday over the Tampa Bay Rays. It was 6-5. They took 2 out of 3 in that series. They're off today and open a series in Toronto tomorrow. Meanwhile, it's reported that David Griffin is close to being named general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Plain Dealer reports Cavs interviewed 4 or 5 series candidates, but the Cavs settled on Griffin, who's been in that interim role since February.
The future of the Internet is playing out in Washington now.
Marketplace Morning Report is produced in association with the University of Southern California and is supported by Constant Contact, whose toolkit provides online marketing resources along with a support staff of live coaches. More at ConstantContact.com.
From 8 p.m. in New York, I'm David Brancaccio. This week, the Federal Communications Commission is set to vote on what's termed network neutrality. That's about Internet companies doing deals that give some content providers fancier service. Internet companies own these conduits for data and feel they should be able to do what they please. Critics say this discriminates against the startup companies of the future. Marketplace's Noel King has that.
Some tech companies and investors say the FCC proposal would kill future tech giants in the cradle.